Afro Tales podcast is a part of the Connected Podcast Network.
Ahoy, my friends. Welcome aboard the Afro Tales podcast. I'm your storyteller, Aman Mazinga. Join me as we explore the tales that grew from the people of Indigenous and African descent in the Americas and the Caribbean.
After, come and see me, chef, who will impart upon you a recipe for the story you have just heard.
So with no further ado, let us set sail on this new age of exploration. 4 creations. The world began long ago in a place called Kichi, where the Kichi people lived. We shall tell how mysteries came out of the shadows, out of the past. These things were brought to light by the maker and former, who had many names: Hunter Possum, Hunter Coyote, Feathered Serpent, Heart of Sky, Heart of Earth, Grandfather, Grandmother, etc. There was once the ancient book of wisdom, written a long, long time ago. It was a great story about the birth of heaven and earth. There were 4 creations. Here is a telling of all these things. The first creation. There was no one at first. There was not one animal yet. No bird, fish, or tree. There was no rock or forest, no canyon, no meadow. There was sky separated from all things. The face of the earth was invisible. There was nothing that could make a sound. There was the sea, so calm and all alone. There was dark and night, and sea murmurings, ripplings. Yet within the dark and night and sea, there was the Maker, and there was the Feathered Serpent. Maker and Feathered Serpent came together. They were in the calm water, and they were brilliant. They glittered with all light. They were there, wrapped in blue and green feathers. They were the great thinkers, and so it is that there was sky and heart of sky. Thus is God, and so he is called. Behold the heart of sky and his 3 signs: lightning, hurricane, new lightning, and blue-green lightning. And they, the 3 flashes, who were the heart of sky, came to Feathered Serpent. And came the word of God, spoken with Maker and Feathered Serpent. Together they thought and figured out. All of them discussed what must be done to bring life and light. What would light be and dawn? Who would bring food? Who would provide? And they thought their words together, joined them with their thoughts, planned creation. Their words and thoughts were so clear that whatever they said came to be. Let it be that water should go, be emptied, they said. There will then be plate of earth to be made ready for sowing and brightening and warming. They created earth by saying it. Earth, they said, earth. And there it was, suddenly, forming out of dust and mist. Mountains and valleys, they thought. Their magic and power brought trees to cover mountains. Pines, they said. The pines came to be. Feathered Serpent was pleased. I'm glad you have come, O heart of sky, it rejoiced. lightning, hurricane, new lightning, blue, green lightning. So the earth was ready as they were first in the universe to think of each thing and say it. Sky and earth were parted and made perfect. Next, they thought of wild animals to guard the forest. There would be deer and birds, panthers and serpents. Deer and panthers would walk on 4 feet. There would be places for all of them, in the trees and thickets, in the bushes, in the hollows and caves, so they might rest and sleep and stay. The wild animals, the first creation, were told by God, "Speak, don't mutter or cry out, talk, each one to each one, and each kind to each group of you. Say our names, praise the God. We are mother and father. Speak to us as who we are, lightning, hurricane, new lightning, and blue-green lightning, heart of sky, maker, feathered serpent." But the deer and birds and panthers and serpents just rustled. They rattled and roared and howled and warbled. They just twittered and chattered. They could not talk like men, like humans. They would not. They all cried out in different sounds. There was no language. Maker heard and said, "They can't say our names. They can't praise us. We are their makers, and we shall have to begin again." So the God said to first creation, "You do not speak, so we will change you and remake you. As you are now, you are brought low. You will serve, you will not lead. You, bird, deer, you will stay where you are, where you sleep and eat, in the forest and canyons, among trees and bushes. You will be eaten. You will kill and be killed. You will stay low and serve, since you cannot talk and praise your God." So it was. Try it again, the word. And quickly, because the planting time was coming, the brightening time. Second creation. Maker tried again to create praise giver and food bringer. This time the human form was made out of wet earth, out of mud. They who were God made the body, but it looked bad, not good. It fell apart. It was so damp and watery. It didn't look at them who made it. It had a face on one side of its head. It made no sense when it tried to speak. "It can't walk," said Maker. "It can't make more of itself. It won't last. It will just get wetter." So they let second creation melt on the watery sea. Only the thought of it was left. Then they made another plan to create man, so they could have praise and prayers. The next man would be carved from wood. Find it and carve it and shape it. Fix it with corn and red bean. Make it carved of wood, said heart of sky and feathered serpent, the third creation. "See," they said of the third creation, "it turned out nicely. It can speak." And so it was that men were made of carved wood. They were wood models. They looked as people looked. They walked. They talked. They multiplied. The earth was full of them. There were sons and daughters, but there were no minds. There were no hearts. There were no memories of the Maker. They did not remember the heart. They did not remember the heart of sky and feathered serpent. But they were the first numbers of people covering the earth. They were as wood dummies. They were as the model then for humankind. Their arms and legs were too thin, too wooden. So, the heart of sky brought a flood down on them. It was a great flood made to destroy them. They were broken up into the houses of the wood ones. What was left of them came the animals of the forest, the first creation. All of them came, big and small. They turned on the carved ones. They gouged them and gnawed them and tore them and crunched them. Their dogs told the wood ones, "You caused us pain. You ate us. Now we will eat what is left of you." And they did. Some of the wood ones escaped to the forest. You can still see them living up in the trees. They are monkeys. That is why monkeys look so human. They are what is left of the wood dummies who would not think, would not walk straight, and were destroyed. The final creation. Here begins true man's beginning, and the search for that which would make his body. The Maker, heart of sky and feathered serpent spoke, "The dawn has come, morning has come for the people of the earth." And here the thoughts of Maker came in light. The sun, moon, and stars were coming soon, and they, the All-God, pondered as to what should make human flesh and where it should come from. As they thought and thought, 4 animals came to them: mountain cat, coyote, little parrot, and crow. These 4 came from broken place, where yellow corn and white corn were plentiful. And these corns would be the human design, with water as blood. These would flesh out the formed and shaped people, the final creation. The animals showed them the way to get there. Maker was joyful to find this mountain overflowing with yellow and white corn ears. And there were also honey and sweet foods, fruit and vegetables. Small and great plants there too. The white and yellow corn was ground to fill many bushels, and with water there came human fat. Maker and feathered serpent said, "Make the first mother and father. We use yellow corn with white corn to build the flesh. We use food for the legs and arms of humankind. These will be the first fathers, the 4 original who are men. And these are the names of the first humans who were formed. First is Jaguar Kichi. Next is Jaguar Night. Third is Mahu Kuta. Last is Wind Jaguar. These are the names of our forefathers, formed and shaped, never born of a mother, had no father. They are themselves great ones, formed by Maker and feathered serpent. And they were human, the 4 humans, They talked, they saw, they heard and listened, they worked and walked. They looked good, and they were good humans. They were handsome. They saw all at once. They knew everything under the heaven. As soon as they looked at earth and sky, they knew all very deeply. They could see through trees and rocks. They could see through people. Oh, those four were the best and the first. Jaguar Kichi, Jaguar Knight, Mahukuta, and Wind Jaguar. Maker asked them, "Do you know? Do you look? How good is your speech?" The four beings saw everything under the sky clearly and perfectly. They gave thanks to Maker. "Praise be, thanks to you, having formed us. 3 times thanks to have made us. We have mouths and we can talk. Thank you, grandmother, grandfather." "Well, this isn't good," Maker said. "You understand too much. You don't need to know everything perfectly." So Maker took back some of it. Took off a little of the vision that could see everything so clearly. "Let it become like this," the All God said. "Since they are only our designs, they shouldn't know or see too much. They are not God, but men only. Let them be satisfied with sowing and reaping and mourning. We'll take them apart somewhat. We'll weaken their eyesight so that up close will be clear, but they won't see everything far away." And the 4 humans were made to lose their complete knowing of all things. They knew some and a little more, but not everything. Not like the heart of sky knew as God. So it was that the final creation was done, the forming and making of the first grandfathers and fathers by heart of sky and heart of earth. And the mates to man came. Their wives came into being by God's word. Sea House was the wife of Jaguar Kichi. Fish House was the wife of Jaguar Knight. Hummingbird House was the wife of Mahukuta. Parrot House was the wife of Wind Jaguar. These were the names of the wives, and they were noble. They gave birth to tribes, great and small, all of them. There you have the root of us. We, who are the Kichi people. The end. Wow. So this is another awesome story. It's a creation story coming from the book In the Beginning, Creation Stories from Around the World, told by Virginia Hamilton. And if you guys know, and if you guys have been listening to this podcast for long, you know I love Virginia Hamilton stories. She does a great job of retelling stories in a way that is more understandable than maybe through the original text or vernacular. So this story comes from the Popol Vuh, or Popol Vuh, which is a sacred history of the Kichi Maya people from Guatemala. It was destroyed. The original books were destroyed, but not before being translated into Latin and then Spanish by Father Francisco Jimenez. And it's their history, their Bible, their sacred text. And this is just a snippet of their creation story. Now, if you're of certain religious backings, you'll recognize some of the patterns of creation. And if so, I want you to ask yourself, how is it that people from all over the world have similar stories of how creation began, how the world began, starting out with nothing, first having animals and plants and trees, then having humans, then even in this, if you're of the Abrahamic religions, a flood. And I say Abrahamic religions, but let's not forget the Epic of Gilgamesh. World floods are common across the globe, from cultures that have never talked to each other, but have a story of a great flood. And then humans coming in, us coming in. It's an amazing thing when you think about it, how lore and legend and myths have evolved through all cultures and are all similar. Like we all started together somehow. I don't know. I picked this story. I was looking for a great story. I was looking for something different. I hadn't done a creation story in quite a long time. My very first episode was an Adam and Eve story, and I've done different creation stories throughout, but it's been a while. At least to me, it's been a while. Maybe not to you. I also thought of the wheel of time or wheel of fortune in this creation story. Each set of beings didn't know what their future would hold for them. And even in the last set, humans, we were first given infinite sight, infinite knowledge, and it was taken away from us. So now we live going day by day, not knowing what's out there, what the future may hold. We just take our chances in every step and hope it's the right one to lead us down the right path. And I like that. At least that's the message I got from this story. We were once godlike, and God said, maybe not. Maybe not. Something like Adam and Eve in the garden had everything, and then no, take that away from me. But I was asked a question about those that do seem to have extra vision or extra knowledge, extra hearing. Why do they still have it? These so many generations past this story. And I thought to myself, and I said, well, maybe it's like a recessive gene almost. Those of you that have or are able to tap into the supernatural, maybe you have a recessive gene from creation, from the first fathers, the first mothers. And I would say, if you do, use them wisely so that the god or gods don't take them away from you. All right? But again, this is a wonderful story, and there's not much to it, but a wonderful creation. So, go see Chef. He has a wonderful recipe inspired by this story. And until we meet again on this wonderful journey that we are on, as always, stay blessed and have a great day.
Welcome, my friends, to the Galley. I am your chef, and today we have a wonderful recipe inspired by the story you have just heard. Today, we will be creating Mexican Quiche. Now, what will you need for this recipe? 9 inches unbaked pie crust, deep dish. 5 eggs. 1 1-ounce package taco seasoning. 1 pound ground sirloin, or whatever beef you so choose. 1 1/4 cups, half and half. Half a cup of sour cream. 1 1/2 tablespoons of butter. 1 1/4 cups Monterey Jack pepper cheese, shredded. Half a cup extra sharp cheddar cheese, shredded. Half a bell pepper, diced. 1 jalapeno, seeded, finely diced. 4 tablespoons green chilies, canned, diced. 1 bunch of green onion, thinly sliced. 2 Romo tomatoes, seeded and diced. 2 tablespoons black olives, sliced. 1 tablespoon cilantro, finely chopped. Half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Now, how do we put this together? Easy. First, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, fit the pie crust into a deep dish pie plate. Cover so it won't dry out while preparing the ingredients. Prepare ground sirloin with taco seasonings per package instructions. Set aside 2 cups. Heat butter in a skillet. Add the bell pepper, green onion. Saute until softened. Now, in a small bowl, combine bell pepper, green onion, jalapeno, green chilies, and tomatoes. In a large bowl, whisk eggs half and half with sour cream until well blended. Gently stir in the remaining ingredients except hamburger and olives. Gently press the 2 cups of seasoned ground sirloin into the bottom of the pie. Gently pour in egg mixture, top with olives. Cover with tinted foil or tinfoil. Bake 45 minutes. Remove cover. Continue baking another 15 to 20 minutes or until center of pie is firm. Allow to cool at least 10 minutes before serving. And that is it, my friends. Now, go make this recipe yours. And until I have another wonderful recipe for you, remember the story of the creations of the Kichi people. And until next time, my friends, as always, enjoy.
Thank you, my friends, for coming on this voyage. Thanks to Art by Chalet for the logo, episode, and shirt designs. You can get t-shirts and other items on tpublic.com. You can contact me on all socials at AfroTalesCast. That's AfroTalesCast. And email me at AfroTalesCast@gmail.com. You may also become a benefactor by simply sharing with any and everyone, giving a thumbs up, a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice, or simply donating on Patreon or Ko-fi.com. That's KO-FI.com. So until we meet again, may your winds be fair and your seas follow.